ProAct Group is proud to present Stevie Mack's Prison Tales.
I ain't no joke. I used to make a pipe smoke, but I slammed it with gun. Made sure my profile on the gun over the saw, my nerves don't mow. No one peeking out the windows and crawling on the floor.
Okay. Yeah. What y'all in here for? I mean, you know, cavity search. Why are they looking at my ass? I mean, they looked in my ass when I left the jailhouse to come here. And now I get to the jailhouse and the courtroom, they're looking in my ass again. Don't know what the hell they expect to find in my ass. And then when I leave here again to go back to jail from court, they're gonna look at what in the hell am I gonna smuggle in my ass from the courthouse back to the jailhouse? My ass ain't that big anyway. Well, I see you looking at my sack. Yeah, my sack is big. I got what you need. You know, Snickers. What you need, homie? Snickers? Top ramen? It's $1 a holler. Anybody need something? Just holler at it. Just holler if you need something. Bus ride over here. Anybody got a handcuff key? Paperclip? I was shackled to this dude on the way over here on the bus. Total stranger. And you know what? I felt like a slave. Felt like a slave, shackled on the damn bus to somebody I didn't even know. Yeah, I picked that one, didn't I? And I was like, I ain't no damn slave. Then I thought about it. You know the 13th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America says, there'll be no slavery or involuntary servitude except those duly convicted of a crime. So there's slavery. And I am a goddamn slave. I know what y'all wondering. I know what y'all wondering. How's Diddy doing in here? I'll tell you this much, there ain't no baby oil in prison. You know what they use? Salad dressing. And so, you know, R. Kelly is going to show Diddy the ropes. Because he's been in there tossing more salads than the Olive Garden. You know, this is my prison briefcase. But you know what a prison wallet is? The ass. That's why they keep checking my ass. Because they think I'm smuggling something in my ass. And you know, I was like, I saw a guy though, we was in another holding cell down the way, and this guy pulled a whole pack of Camel cigarettes out his ass. Yeah. Then he pulled out a lighter. Yeah. And then he pulled out a blunt. I was waiting for him to pull out an ashtray. And then he lit the blunt and asked me, did I want to hit it? I'm like, man, pass that shit. It's double dipped. You know what, man? I've been coming to jail a long time. This is 1994 right now. And I'm facing a lot of time. You know, that 3 strikes law came out. And it was really meant for violent offenders and repeat offenders. But I got caught up in that one, man. I voted for it. But come to find out, it was a trick. A trap, yeah. It's okay to laugh at that. Laugh at my pain, if you will. I got caught up in it, man. Listen, my thing was burglary, right? And then another burglary. Those are 2 strikes. And then petty theft with a prior. That's penal code 666. Ooh, that's some devilish shit right there, right? And that's a petty theft with a prior, which is a felony. That's my 3rd strike, so I'm facing 25 to life. How the hell did I get here? 25 to life? I look too good to do 25 to life. I'm too young. Well, I was too young. All right, I'll start out. Oh, I got some letters. Read some of these letters to y'all. You know, I really like letters in jail, man. Letters in jail. So when I get letters that smell really good and they got perfume on them, I like to put them under my pillow and then roll them around on my clothes and stuff and smell them. So letters from jail is a good thing, man. My first letter from jail. Well, see, this is what happened. This is how I got to jail in the first place. I gotta take you back to 1963. Yeah. You look like, what? That's the year I was born, 1963. I was born November 21st, 1963, and that's the day before President Kennedy was assassinated. So I came in the world feeling guilty about that right off the bat. I didn't do it. I had an excuse. I wasn't even here yet. But then my daddy didn't stick around. You know, my mother had 6 kids by 6 baby daddies. Woo! Look at y'all. Some of y'all thinking, ooh, your mama's a hoe. No, she wasn't. She's a bit hoe-ish. She got her freak on. Now, all them babies' daddies stuck around except mine. And their daddies wasn't shit. Now, I know my brothers and sisters, if you're here or if you're going to watch this on video, your daddy wasn't shit. You know it, I know it. Like, one was a pimp. One was a drug dealer. One was a petty thief. One was a devil worshiper. My daddy was a track star. Come on. Yeah, fastest man ever to run from Los Angeles to North Carolina. When my mother said she was pregnant. He was a fireman for the city of Los Angeles. He was in the Air Force. And all the other losers that she hung out with, he didn't believe I was his child, so he left. Now, mind you, I'm just a kid, and their daddies are coming around. And I'm trying to make their daddies my daddy. When their daddy come around, I go, hi, daddy. They go, that ain't your daddy. I go, oh.
No.
So I had a resentment, right? I'm a kid, resentment, 7 years old. Feel low self-esteem, low self-worth. The world owes me something. Now, mind you, I ain't did no drugs and alcohol yet. And I got all these feelings bubbling up inside me. And the world owes me, so I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go take what I want. As a kid, it wasn't quite like that. But the first thing I really wanted was a Gumby. Anybody ever watch Gumby? It was a claymation show for those who are too young. It used to come on Saturday mornings. Gumby and Pokey, they had a little song. Gumby! If you could see what Gumby could do. Gumby! Something, man, Pokey too. I didn't give a damn about Pokey. I wanted me a Gumby. So this is what happened. One of my mother's boyfriends had taken me somewhere with him one day over to somebody's house somewhere. And we went upstairs and he went into the room to perform some nefarious acts of whatnot. And there I saw it across the room, looking at me, looking at it, looking at me. It was a Gumby. And I started walking toward that Gumby with that song in my head, Gumby. And I grabbed that Gumby, I looked around, and I ran downstairs, and I put it under the seat of the car, and I went back up. In life, a trip, sometimes you remember things in, like jump cuts in a movie, but there's whole swaths of our life that we forget and block out. Why do I remember that particular thing? It was the first thing I ever stole, and I hadn't had a drink or a drug. Well, I mean, now I'm facing 25 to life, and now, 1994, I've already been to AA. I've already been around you folks. I already know the saying that if you get high the way I did, it leads to 3 things: jails, institutions, and death. I know that now. I didn't know that then. The next toy that I had to have was a G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. You know what? Back then, G.I. Joe was this big. It had a velvet beard and a scar. It had clothes and it had guns. I had to have me one of them G.I. Joes with the Kung Fu grip. I just didn't know where to get it from. But there was a commercial on TV. It was about Thrifty's Drug and Discount Store. Yeah, they had a song. At Thrifty's Drug and Discount Store, your dollar buys you more. At Thrifty's, I marched right down to the Thrifty's. And I saw that G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip on the shelf. And it was this big, and I was this big, and I was like, damn, that's big. I didn't know how I was gonna get it. So I opened the box, And I took that big old G.I. Joe and I stuffed it down my pants. And somewhere in the back, I heard somebody yell, "Hey, boy, what you doing stuffing that toy down your pants?" I didn't even look to see who it was. I just shook it out my leg and ran out the store. But I had to have one. And I loved Christmas. Not because I got stuff, but because you got stuff. And I was already a thief. Already a thief. So when I come over your house, I'm going to put this G.I. Joe together. I figured out a plot. A plan! I come over your house and I take an arm. I come over your house and I get a leg. I piece my G.I. Joe together. And I put it all on a Barbie's body. So I had the first multiracial transgender G.I. Joe. With the feng shui wrist. So I was the type of kid growing up in the neighborhood, because I stole so much, someone coined me a nickname. They started calling me Thievin' Steven. You ever see somebody who is so janky that when they start coming, you start hiding your valuables? It was me. Here it comes, put the shit away, right? Stevie. Yeah, I was a bad thief. I would steal while he was looking at me. "What you doing, Stevie? Stealing?" I bring it back when I'm done with it. And that was a cold part. My mother moved a lot. She moved a lot. I went to 11 different elementary schools. 11, yeah, that's a lot. Didn't have time to establish meaningful relationships. Still hadn't had any drinks or drugs. So now we're forming a little gremlin here, right? Yeah. A little gremlin. Already resentments, frustrations, fears, anxiety, low self-esteem. A thief. No drinks or drugs yet. I only had enough time when we moved to a new house to figure out what I was going to steal from you before we moved again. So I have a plot and plan. What I'm going to get from you before we moved again. And we kept moving, I kept stealing, and pretty soon I was breaking in the houses. And my mother told me, because the police started capturing me now, they started arresting me. And you know, I had this fear in the back of my head about juvenile hall. I didn't want to go to juvenile hall. You know how you're a kid and you have a brilliant imagination? You just start imagining things. You probably ain't seen it, but you imagined it. Your imagination can be worse than it really is. I imagined juvenile hall to be some dark, dank hallway with kids chained to the walls and some cloaked figure whipping them in the dark. Ah! Juvenile hall. I was so terrified of going to juvenile hall. So but I couldn't stop stealing. And so one day I broke into the dental office on the corner of my house, right? Airplanes, helicopters came. They had the dogs out and everything. The police, whoop, whoop. And my mother came out with her wig on crooked, staggering with a bottle. Mm-hmm. See, I told you. Next time they arrest your ass, I'm gonna let them take you. Take his ass on the way to juvenile hall. And there I was in the backseat of the car. Oh. 11 years old, heading to juvenile hall. I was afraid, I was terrified. And when I got to juvenile hall, it wasn't nothing like I thought. It smelled like spick and span. It was clean, and all my friends were there. Hey, man! Yeah, right? Hell yeah, I'll be back. I was no longer afraid of juvenile hall. So you couldn't hold that fear over me no more. So when the police would arrest me now, they would try to threaten me. Like, they put the cuffs on and be like, "You want to go home or you want to go to juvenile hall?" I'd be like, "Oh my God, what's today, Tuesday? Pancakes, let's go." Juvenile hall having pancakes, my favorite. I was no longer afraid of juvenile hall, and that's a bad thing. You know what? In my neighborhood, going to jail was a badge of honor. Right? And I was an overachiever, so I made it a point to go to all the juvenile halls. Man, I went to Central Juvenile Hall. I went to LP Los Padrinos. I went to Scudder Detention. I went to Fresno Juvenile. What the hell I'm doing way up here? Yeah, right? Fresno. They opened one. I said, "Hey, I'm here." It's a new one, right? It's the Juvenile Hall. And then recently, fast forward to 2024, they got these commercials on TV. Were you molested as a child in juvenile hall? Lawyers are standing by. I'm looking at that commercial, I'm going, ooh, money. Now, mind you, I wasn't molested in juvenile hall, but I do want to get paid. So I was thinking like, call me a lawyer, you know, one of those lawyers. Hell yeah, I was molested in juvenile. I'm working myself up into this lie, right? Hell yeah, they got me, homie. So, but then the thought occurred to me like, ooh, what if they want you to go on TV with your testimony, right? Yes, my name is Stevie. A victim of the baloney pony. So I was like, oh no. And then I was like, here's the cool thing about stupidity, man, and ego and greed. My greed overrode my sense of well-being and sense of self. My greed said, call him, and I called him. I was like, hello. Yeah, I was molested, man, at all of them. And they said, oh, okay, hey, yeah, you might have a big case here. What year was it? I was like, well, I was in there in 1973. They go, oh, we're only going back to 2023. I'm like, what? Oh, so y'all just gonna sit up here and let me be molested? Now I'm believing my own lie. Yeah. Mind you, I wasn't molested. I'm sure there was some who were molested, and I feel for them. But at the same time, there were some kids in there that was 6'5", 300 pounds. They was molesting the guards. Yeah. That's what the next commercial is going to be. Were you a guard at juvenile hall? Molested by a teen? This one smells kind of angry. They finally took your black ass to jail. I knew it was coming. I warned you it would happen. I'm the one who called the police. I'm the one who told them to lock you up. Love, Mama. Yeah. That happened. That happened, man. You gotta clean up. I like to keep the cell clean. I don't like living in filth. I don't care where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be clean and tidy, man. You ever go to somebody's house and their house be like really nasty, but they be talking shit like, oh, you gotta take your shoes off to come in here. I ain't taking, what, so my feet can get dirty? Taking my shoes off in your nasty ass. What I really hate is you go over somebody's house and they got rats and bugs and shit, and they try to act like it ain't no big thing. Yeah. I'm at a dude's house, damn, a rat run out, and I go, oh shit! And he go, oh, you scared of a little old mouse? Now, wait, first of all, homie, that's a rat. Ain't no damn mouse. And yeah, I'm afraid of a disease-carrying rodent. I started to kill a roach. I said, a roach? You like, hey, don't kill that. That's food for the rats. Don't kill the roaches because the rats eat the roaches. And I guess the spiders eat the, I don't know. So I kept going to jail until I wound up going to camp. And I went to all the camps and detention centers too, man. I remember I went to one called Scott and Scudder. They made that movie. They made a movie up there with Linda Blair. Who wanted something? Somebody was looking? And $2 a holler. Snickers, yeah. Chips, Kit Kat, Top Ramen. This is good stuff. All healthy shit right here, man. I went to Scott and Scudder. I got a letter up there too. Let me see where that letter. This letter. I had a girlfriend at this time. I was about 12. Marcia. I loved Marcia. And she loved me. Oh, that That smells like perfume right there, man. Marcia said, I love you. Can't wait for you to get out. It's going to be better this time when you return. With a heart. She drew a little heart right there. That's what I'm talking about. Letters like that. Up in Scott and Scudder is where I discovered I was normal in this area. The reason why I say that is you have to take community showers there, right? All the guys are in the shower, and we're showering. You try not to look at dicks, but you're looking. You want to be labeled as a guy looking at everybody's dicks, right? Everybody's looking around. There was a kid there, Mitchell. He was about this tall, right? Dick down to his knees. I swear to God. I couldn't believe it. And I was looking at him going like, holy crap. And I looked at my thing and I was like, am I abnormal? And I looked at everybody else like, no, he's just a circus freak. So I didn't feel inadequate about my penis size at Scott and Scudder. You see this bag I got here? This is my bag of candy, right? Up at Scott and Scudder, you can get visits from your mama, and your mama could bring about this much candy up there. And some kids' mamas did. Mine didn't. But if you got candy up at Scott and Scudder, and I didn't, don't go to sleep. Yeah, because I'm going to get that. In fact, one kid got a big-ass bag of candy like that, and he fell asleep with it in his arms. Like, that's going to protect it, right? You know what he woke up to? A bag of trash. Me and my buddy got 15 cavities that night, man. We ate the shit out of his candy. And there was another kid up there named Cedric. He had the complete opposite of Mitchell. He had, you know how women go and get those butt implants? Well, he had that naturally. Yeah, he had a big old woman's ass. And we used to call him Double Bubble. Double Bubble. Yeah, I don't know where he's at today. I think he was on RuPaul's Drag Race. And then I left Scott and Scudder. That was just a holding center, detention center. And I went up to Camp Munns. Now, Camp Munns is 6,000 feet above sea level. It's cold up there. It snows up there. In fact, they got a fence around Camp Munns to keep the animals out, not us in. That's how it's wild animals up there. And I'm from the hood, and the rest of us from the hood, we don't know nothing about this type of environment. In the morning, it's so cold, you can see your breath. And they had this man, this guard, they call them counselors or probation officers. His name was Mr. Matthews. And what he would do while we were waiting in line to go to breakfast, he was playing psychological warfare on us children. He was singing a song to try to convince us that this place was better than our homes. He made this song up. Would you like to hear it? He was singing this song. Oh, how I love Camp Munns. I don't want to go home. Ain't nothing at the pad. Best place I've ever been. Best meals I ever had. Oh, how I love Camp Munns. I hated that song. And I hated his face. But you know what? He was winning the war. Let me tell you why. You ever get a song stuck in your head that you don't want there? We had wood shop, we go hiking, we did all kind of fun stuff at Camp Munns. I was 13 years old at the time. I'd be in the wood shop sawing some wood. I don't like that damn song. Stuck in my head though, man. And you know, in actuality, Camp Munns was better than my home. My home was dysfunctional. There was alcoholism, there was drug addiction, there was those pimps, those dealers, all that stuff was still happening. And I'm 13 now, and I'm starting to experience with alcohol and drugs myself. I'm having fun with it though, you know. We had quarts, we didn't have 40 ounces. Yeah, we had Sherm, we had PCP. Anybody know about that phencyclidine, comparative tetrahydrocannabinol? Yeah, they dip it in the juice and they call them wet daddies. If you use a cool cigarette, they call it super cools. You spray it on some weed, they call it lovely. And if you dip a Sherm cigarette in, Sherman Boom! Yeah, they had all those names. For another name for a lot of y'all don't know, you probably do know, they called it butt naked. Yeah. The reason why is because people would smoke that PCP take off all their clothes and run down the street. Crazy, man. Crazy. I had an adverse reaction. I never got naked. I always just like, I would turn to a zombie. Oh, I get stuck. One time I got big. I was sitting on the couch at a house, and I just got bigger than the whole room. Somebody come in the room and be, oh, excuse me, you want to get in? Come on. Yeah, I never got naked off the PCP. But I hung out with people who did. Especially if you had a nice outfit that I could wear. Yeah. I'd be like, holy shit, Lamont, that's a nice outfit. You want to smoke some Sharon? That's how I built my wardrobe up. People getting asshole naked running off. They're not coming back. What the hell they running to anyway? I don't know. Seemed like every decade a new drug would hit the community. You know, as I sit here now, waiting to go to court, facing 25 to life, drugs and alcohol played a big part in why I'm here. You know, my getting high, stealing. Steven, the kid, kept stealing until adulthood. And now this is the consequences of it. I'm facing 25 to life now because of that, man. And you know what, man? I gotta tell you. When I was getting high, I was having a lot of fun. But in 1975, this movie came out called Superfly. Yeah, and it made cocaine seem like the good thing to do. Oh, it was very attractive. They had that music, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, hey, doo-doo-doo, hey. Only pimps and hustlers and dealers was doing it. You couldn't get nothing less than $25. We had little spoons around our neck like it was a legal thing to do, right? It was cool. It was socially accepted. Disco was happening. It was an awesome time to be alive. And then some scientist somewhere figured out how to separate the powder from the pure, the cut, and made pure rocks out of it. And then we started smoking on these big glass pipes. Turned it into a whole different thing. You remember when I became a zombie off PCP? I was completely opposite off cocaine. But the first time I ever did cocaine, I remember getting it from my brother. He charged me $10. You're my brother. He was like, yeah, game is to be sold, not told. But it wasn't sexy like you see on TV or in the movies. I grabbed that cocaine and snorted it up like an Oompa Loompa. I came back like 15 minutes later like, hey man, that stuff you gave me, it wasn't no good. I'm gonna need some more. What am I supposed to be feeling? So my brother was a big dealer. I wasn't. I was a nickel and diamond type of guy. They had kilos. If I had a kilo, they'd have found me dead with it sticking out my ass. They'd have been like, that ain't where you're supposed to put it. Why is it in his prison wallet? I committed a crime when I was 16 years old. Actually, I was 14 when I committed the crime, an armed robbery. You know how people have the big vest, ski mask, the AK-47? Well, I didn't have none of that. I broke a bottle on the curb. Give me the money. Give me the money, damn it. And we went and bought some weed and hung out in the park. And the police swooped on us, took us to jail. They released me to my friends' parents, because that's what they did back then. My parents wasn't showing up. So they released me to their parents. And they said, you promised to come back to court? I was like, yeah. I'll be back for court. Yeah, officer. So I told my older brother, I go, hey man, I'm on the lam. I'm on the run. The law is after me. He said, well, I got a condo up in Fox Hills. A lot of rich people lived up there at the time. And so he hid me out in the hills, you know. Every morning he came down with an 8-ball. That's 3.5 grams of cocaine. He'd take it and split it in half. He'd rock his up, smoke it on a glass pipe and peek out the window. And I'd sit back and snort mine. And and he'd be smoking and peeking out the window, going, Stevie, quiet! Somebody's out there. Ain't nobody out there, baby. You fucking up my high. Every day this happened, and pretty soon I started snorting mine up real fast, and I'd just be watching him, right? And he was up there, you finished already? Man, I think you're getting addicted to that stuff. You want to hit this? Wait a minute, somebody's out there. You want to hit it? I go, well, you know, I am out. And that is cocaine. I said, yeah, let me hit that shit. So I hit it, blew it out. I was like, holy shit, somebody is out there. I'm gonna go get the guns. I was worse than him. I went and got the guns, the binoculars, really paranoid. Somebody's out there. You got any more? Because somebody's out there. Somebody's out there. You got any more? That was my first experience with rock cocaine. It wasn't crack yet. It was freebase. Pebbles talked about that earlier. Wasn't shit free about freebase, right? It was rock cocaine, and we smoked on big, pretty glass pipes. But eventually something happened. So eventually I got arrested on that robbery charge. I was selling PCP at the disco. Yeah. Over here, yeah. I got what? And I was 16 at the time. They took me to youth authority this time. So I went to court. 1976. 1976. Yeah. 1976. I went to court, and they gave me 6 years for that armed robbery. But since I was a minor, I was 16, they could only hold me 2 years. Hey, they can only hold me 2 years. So they sent my ass to youth authority. No longer camp, no longer juvenile hall. Now it's the big leagues. CYA, California Youth Authority. Ooh, that's some scary shit, man. So I get to youth authority, and the first place I go to was called Norwalk. It's a transition center where they house you to determine if you're going to go over here, you're going to go to Tracy, you're going to go to Nellis. You know what, man? You know how I talked about people getting molested in prison? I mean, in the juvenile halls? I didn't get molested, but I got looked at. And what I mean by that is when we took showers, there was this beautiful woman. Imagine this, all guys showering, youth, right? Young, virile men, 16 years old. Dick's hard as a rock, right? We showered, not because we're showering, I'm just saying that's our stamina's up. So anyway, we're showering. And they had a lady, a beautiful woman, handing out towels if we come out the shower button in. Yeah. So we try to get our dicks as hard as we could so she could throw it on there. Throw it on there! Like get a ringer. Yeah, you want to see it? Go ahead. Yeah. That was the California Youth Authority. I got some mail when I was at CYA too. Oh, this one smells like wine and weed. This is from Marcia. She's concerned. I hope you get it together and fly straight. This time, I'm worried about you getting locked up all the time. I'll be waiting. Love, Marcia. You know what I wanted from Marcia? Some naked pictures. Hey, Marcia, yeah. Send me some naked pictures of you. I promise not to show anybody. Mail call. Hey, I got some naked pictures. Who got candy bars? Come on. You want to see? I got some bad news when I was in CYA too, though. You know, my mother was drinking and drugging all the while, and she was on them violent drunks. You know, drinking, there's 3 stages of drinking, right? There's that tipsy stage. We're tipsy. We're having fun. And then there's that violent stage. I'm going to kick somebody's ass. And then there's that sad stage. What's the matter? I got my ass kicked. My mother would go straight to violence. Yeah, you know, we grew up in an environment where my mother would go down to the local watering hole and meet some poor, unsuspecting schmuck and bring him back home. who think he's coming home for a night of pleasure. And it would be a gang fight on his ass because all the kids are gonna jump on mama's side, right? If it was like a cable show or something, it would be like this. Ladies and gentlemen from around the block and from up the way, welcome to another embarrassing moment of Stevie Mack's life. Let's get ready to stumble! Tonight's knockdown, drag out, and no holds barred slobber knocker is brought to you in part by Night Train, whose motto is, we don't need no wine to make our wine. We don't need no grapes. We use chemicals. Also sponsored in part by PCP. That's right, phencycline, piperidine, and tetrahydrocannabinol. That shit will fuck you up. And now, in the red corner, the challenger. Some poor unsuspecting schmuck who mama met at the local watering hole who thought he was coming home for a night of pleasure. But unbeknownst to him, in the blue corner's mama's little disappointments armed with sticks, bats, and chains. Because they know the deal. And then it'll be like a cartoon, a big old ball, fish flying, somebody call the police! And somebody would call the police, but back then, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't even have touch-tone phones. We had rotodial. You had to dial the whole police phone number. By then, somebody's ass would be kicked or killed. So when I was in youth authority, I got a call to the front office. They said, we got some bad news about your mother. I was like, oh, man. They said, yeah, your mother's in jail. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. What happened? She killed somebody. Oh, man. Yeah, it was just manslaughter. Oh, just manslaughter, okay. So when did she get out? 6 years. Oh, 6 years? Yeah, so what happened as a result of that, I kind of went into myself and I kind of did some self-searching and discovery. I started reading a lot of books. I started writing a lot. I started winning every essay contest I ever entered. Discovered I had some talent, right? And so all that experimenting with drugs and alcohol on the street, I still had a plan though when I get out of CYA. I was thinking like, okay, when I get out of CYA, I'm gonna get a girlfriend over here and a girlfriend over there. I was gonna get like 3 or 4 girlfriends and sell weed at every house, right? That's what I was gonna do. But you know what was happening while I was in CYA? The crack epidemic was happening on the streets. Weed wasn't becoming a popular thing, it was crack. Crack had blown up because while I was in CYA, it was the 80s. And mind you, I did say epidemic, right? You know what they do to an epidemic? They lock your ass up for an epidemic. You know what they do now? Because it's a crisis. You get treatment because it's a crisis. Epidemic, lock them up! Crisis treatment. Big difference. So I was involved in the epidemic and my ass was locked up. And so when I got out and I looked at the whole world, I was like, oh my God, and I went crazy. And my brother was locked up. I'm on the streets getting buck wild, going back and forth to jail. And I wound up going to the county jail finally. Now the county jail is worse than prison. Yeah, you got people in the county jail who can't wait to get out of the county jail. That's how bad it is in the county jail. You know, one of the weird things about the county jail is the toilets, like they got a row of toilets out in public right here. Imagine this is a dorm, right? You're all in the dorm, this is where all the beds are, and the toilets are right out in public. And then the TVs are all along the wall. Guess where the TVs are? Right above the toilets. Yeah. Who the hell designed that, right? You gotta go take a crap right in front of everybody looking at you, man. Someone asked me what is a rubber room. I mentioned rubber rooms. Rubber rooms is a jail inside of a jail. It's a padded cell that they lock your ass up because you can't function normally in jail like the rest of the individuals. And that was me. Every jail I went to the rubber room. I thought you had to go. So I talked about the toilets. Anybody gonna take a shit? Anybody gonna take a shit? So, yeah, I couldn't function normal, man. I was just like, you know, I always had to get locked up. Now, one time I got locked up in a substation. This is like at the police station. They have a jail at the police station. This was in Lenox. And I didn't even do anything this time. I was just hanging out with the homies, going to a party one night. Police pulled us over. Y'all committed a crime. We ain't committed shit, but you going to jail anyway. So we're in the substation waiting to go to court over the holiday weekend. Yeah, court don't open for 4 days. And I'm locked up in a substation. I kind of lost it in there. lady, poor lady was coming around serving breakfast. Y'all want breakfast? I'm like, yeah, let's get breakfast. Hey, you got any extras on the card? No. No! I called her every name, every name under the sun. And then she came back with a guy the size of Shaquille O'Neal, and they drugged my ass to the rubber room. So I had to say, I'm sorry. And so by the time we finally got to go to court, this was a trip, and I kid you not. We were in the van going to court, and somebody must have had got busted with all these snow seals. This is where they fold cocaine in a little wax paper, and they had stuffed them in the seat of the van. And so somebody found one. He was like, dude, I found some cocaine. I'm like, let's snort it, right? We're going to court, right? Let's snort it. Somebody, I found one. I'm like, what? We found 21 snow seals in the seats of this van. So by the time we got to court, we're like, right in, Your Honor. Not guilty. We was wide for sound, boy. Yeah, so I got a letter from Marcia when I was in the county jail. This one smells like gin and tonic. What is wrong with you? Why can't you just stay out and behave? My mother said I shouldn't come visit you this time. Let's see what happens when you get out. So, Marcia's getting fed up with my shit. What happened? It happens. Well, you know, I found out I had a high IQ when I went to Youth Authority. They did the test on me, found out my IQ was 162. Said I was just using it for the wrong purposes. Yeah. One time, I was on probation, and when I went to see the probation officer, she was fine. You know that song, Brick House? They wrote that about her. She was a brick house. She was fine as sister, man. I was trying to impress her. I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm 17. I'm thinking I'm the ish right there. Look at me over here. And so she pulled out my rap sheet, right? I didn't know that's what it was. She pulled something out of her desk, and she opened it up, and she just was looking at it, and then she kind of like flicked it. She just flicked it like this. She went. And I said, what's that? She said, oh, this is your rap sheet. I was so damn embarrassed. My rap sheet was that damn long. I couldn't believe I had a rap sheet that long. And all that hip, slick, cool shit I was trying to pull went out the window. This was the first time I was really embarrassed about the crimes I committed. Because before then, I really didn't give a F. But trying to impress a lady, and then she rolls that out on me. I'm like, damn. Yeah? So there I was, man. On my way to the big house after that. You know, I wound up going to Susanville. Susanville is way up north, 50 miles inland from San Francisco. And I got a letter from Marcia when I was in Susanville. This one smells like shit. I'm totally pissed off and disappointed. Don't bother writing back because we're through. It's over between us. In fact, I'm done with guys, period. I'm dating your sister now. Yeah. You know, I love horses.
What?
Yeah, well, no, not like that. Like, I know that was a hell of a jump. I didn't jump from Marcia dating my sister. You know, I love horses. Hell of a transition. Well, Susanville had horses. That's what I'm trying to get at. They had a wild horse training program. You know, you got, hold on a second. You got to get a prison job when you're in jail. And like most of the time you work in the kitchen and stuff like that. I didn't like to work in the kitchen because you got to face everybody. Early in the morning, right? If the first thing I see in the morning is yo ass, I don't want to see you asking me for more food and shit. That's how fights start. Hey man, put another scoop on me like, oh, so now I'm a bitch made, right? You know, you punking me? No, you ain't getting nothing. I'll see your ass after chow. But they had a horse training program at Susanville, so I signed up for it. I love horses. Back to that. I've always have loved horses. See, when I was a kid, I wanted to be two things: a cowboy or a cop. Both of them had a gun. I think that's what, and they both wore a hat. So I don't know, was it maybe a sheriff or a cop, right? Both of them, a gun and a hat and some boots, right? So when we played Cowboys and Indians, I was a cowboy. So Susanville had that wild horse training program. I signed up for it. So what we did was we domesticated wild Mustangs out of the hills of Oregon, and we domesticated them and put them up for adoption. I was a real cowboy, bronc busting horses and everything like that. And one day I was smoking a cigarette by the alfalfa, and it fell into the alfalfa, and I was, oh, that smelled like weed. The alfalfa, the hay, smelled like weed. And I told my friend Guy, I said, hey man, that smelled like weed. He said, I know. He said, I've been sneaking it back and selling it. Alfalfa? Yeah. So what would happen is, we don't want to make it obvious. We'd be working. Alfalfa just happened to fall in our pockets, in the cuffs of our pants. We come back and shake it all out, roll up joints, and we were selling it all over the yard as weed, alfalfa, right? And so we incorporated other people to sell for us. This one stupid guy, Baba Louie, we told him, you know that drug dealer, Baba Louie, the drug dealer out of Oakland, California? Don't sell nothing to him. He knows the difference. What did Baba Louie do? Sold that dude some alfalfa. And the dude come to me, hey man, yeah, y'all sold, no, Baba Louie sold you some weed. So they went all up in his prison wallet. Anyway, they got back what he owed them. What I was doing at Susanville was training to go to fire camp. And fire camp is where you go to fight forest fires, right? You wear orange Nomex jumpsuits like this. And so I had to do firefighter training while I was training horses. So, you know, I was physically fit. I was an Adonis, 180-pound solid muscle. And I finally got to fire camp. And fire camp was a lot of freedom. A lot of weapons, too. Axes, chainsaws, all kind of stuff. People could sneak weed, cocaine in, all kind of stuff, man. So one day, here's the thing about divide and conquer. You know, MA, the Mexican mafia, would tell the Mexicans, don't pray with us. They want to keep us separate so they can control them. And so the Mexicans there kept writing on the handball court, spraying. And the cops told us that if whoever's writing on the handball court, we're going to shut down all y'all programming. So we told the Mexicans, hey, stop writing on the handball court, man, or it's going to be some shit. They were like, fuck you, we're going to keep writing on the handball court. So they kept writing on the handball court. So I got all the brothers together. I said, we're going to have to do something about this. So we got together. We're going to march on them. And so they got together. And they're coming down this hall, and I got the brothers behind me. And I was a shot caller, by the way. You know, I'm coming down the hall. And so the dorms on the side, I hear doors slamming. So I'm like, yeah, more soldiers are joining the troops. It's about to be down, right? So I get down there, and the shot caller for the Mexicans and me, and he got all his homies behind him. I go, what's up, man? What it's going to be? We going to do this? He goes, we home, you by yourself. I'm like, what? I look back, nobody was behind me. So those doors I heard slamming wasn't soldiers joining the fight. It was cowards ducking from the battle. I was there by myself, but I had to think fast. I said, yeah, see, what you don't understand is you just got routed, player. He goes, routed? What's that? I go, that's when the troops go through the dorm and circle around back and attack your ass from all sides. So what's it gonna be? We need to just go on and squash this shit on. I'm like, yeah, we need to squash this shit on. That was the most terrifying moment of my life. I lied my way out of that shit, man. And you know what? When I got out of fire camp, before I got out, though, this is what getting high do for you. This one dude made a batch of Pruno. That's prison liquor, right? It was good. It tasted like champagne. It was a big old thermos full. Crazy white guy. Yeah, man, come on, I'm going to get you fucked up, man. I'm about to go home in 3 days, mind you. So we partying. We outside drinking it. This is my going home party. Hey, drinking on the weight pal. And then all of a sudden I'm buzzed. I'm really drunk. And I go, you know what, man, I'm good. I'm going to go to bed. I'm like, what you going to do? I'm going to down it. I'm going to down it. I'm like, okay, you down it. I'm going to bed. So I went to bed. At least I thought I did. Yeah, come to find out the next day, all the homies was like, hey, man, you know we woke you up sitting on the toilet last night. I was like, what? Yeah, he was sitting on the corner. And then the cops called me to the front office. Mac, come to the front office. Mac, to the front office. I get to the front office and I go, what's up? They go, so Harry saw you and Brian on the weight pile last night drinking. So where's Brian? I go, well, he said he was going to down it. I don't know where. They said he escaped. I'm like, what? He escaped? I have no idea about that, man. I was just partying, baby. They told me I fell asleep on the table, on the toilet. But see, that's how stupid I am with drugs and alcohol. I'm 3 days to the house, yet I decided to get shit-faced on the weight pile with some Pruno, some prison Pruno, man. But I finally got out of there, and I went home. And once I got home, I started looking back at my life. And I was thinking about all the stuff that I got involved in. I thought about how people in jail was snitching. Yeah, they got snitches, man. You know, they got so many snitches, man. They got snitches snitching to snitches about snitches. Hey, man, you heard about Larry? He's a snitch. I am Larry. What you know about me? There's no honor among thieves. They got a new fashion line called Abercrombie and Snitch. You know, they don't even call it snitching no more. They call it getting down first. I'm gonna get down first, right? No honor among thieves, man, right? What happened to snitches get stitches? That's out the window. You know that TV show First 48? Yeah, it'd be First 48 seconds. Yeah, they'd be like, all right, tell us what you know. I don't know nothing, man. I don't know nothing. Got some McDonald's. I'll tell you everything. I remember snitching only one time in my life, really. And I was just 11 years old, so you can't really fault me for that, right? I was a kid. A friend of mine named Joseph had stole a moped, and he had brought it by my house, and we went joyriding on it, and then he left it with me. I got on the next day, I'm joyriding, and the cops get out and be like, oh shit, and they catch me, and they put the moped in the back of the car, and they say, where'd you get this from? I go, I got it from Joseph. They go, where does he live? I said, well, I don't know his address, but I can show you how to get there. So they drove me to Joseph's house, and as I was sitting in the back of the car, I looked up, and I saw Joseph in the top window going. That was the only time I ever snitched, so you can't really fault me for that. You know what? I figured it like this. If I don't want to get snitched on, I need to stop doing things that put me in the company of snitches. I need to change my wicked ways. I need to stop wearing a uniform of people doing stuff like that. So when I was in jail, I discovered all the talents that I had, and I started writing, and I started performing stand-up comedy, and started doing all kind of stuff. And it's gonna take a little while. Don't try to help me. Okay, that's how the metamorphosis feels. Start coming out of my skin, shedding my skin, and getting out of those old uniforms, and doing different stuff and being a different person. And what happened as a result of that, I started doing different things, man. I started looking at my life, getting back on the right track, doing a lot of television and film and comedy. And what happened was my list of accomplishments got longer than my rap sheet, which was a good thing. Yeah. And so, that's one damn thing I'm proud of. Now you can turn your life around and you don't have to go back, and there is help. And the last thing I'm gonna close with is this. Vote no matter what. You may not get what you like, but if you don't vote, you ain't gonna like none of what you get. Thank you, God bless. Have a good day.